Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. Today I am going to talk about the iQOO 9 SE, which, believe me, is an insanely good mid-range phone to buy right now. And as the title of this video suggests, it could even be a Galaxy A53 killer. Here, my team has been testing it alongside the Galaxy A53, and what we can tell is that the A53, for what it's worth, is a good camera phone. Plus, it has an IP67 rating and a class-leading display too. But that's about it. Its performance is pretty bad for the price. You don't get a charger inside the box, and more importantly, it is more expensive than the iQOO 9 SE. So for 34,000 Indian rupees and some bank discounts, the iQOO 9 SE for me is the best phone at its price segment. We literally don't have as many things to complain about here, since iQOO has delivered an excellent all-rounder phone, just like last year's iQOO 7. Anyway, let me talk about the things that are great about the iQOO 9 SE and some aspects where it could improve with future updates. First off, let's talk about the design. And I must admit that although it's not as good as the more expensive iQOO 9, it is still a well-built phone. It has a good heft to it, and the phone does not feel that bulky either. Moreover, the slight curves on the sides help with the grip as well. But being Vivo's sub-brand, I wish iQOO had gone with that color changing back like the one on the Vivo V23, which would have made it more appealing. This Sunset Sierra variant does catch some fingerprints and smudges, but it's not that prominent. Overall, the design of the iQOO 9 SE is not spectacular. You don't get any form of IP rating here, the frames are still plastic made, and the display comes with a cheaper Panda glass protection. But these are things where you expect brands to cut costs on their mid-range phones, so for me, it's not a deal breaker. Okay, moving on to the front, the iQOO 9 SE's display is quite similar to the one we got on the iQOO 7, which means that this is a very good AMOLED panel. We found its quality to be a class above some of the other cheaper phones like the Redmi Note 11 Pro or even the Realme 9 Pro Plus that we recently reviewed. But when it comes to displays, I think Samsung's color optimization on its A series phones is still marginally ahead of other brands. Still in all, the iQOO 9 SE screen is quite good. It has an excellent contrast, near accurate colors, albeit with a slightly bluish tinge, and it can get plenty bright too. Hence, you will enjoy watching movies and shows here. This display is also Asia 10 certified, and it plays Asia videos on Netflix and Prime Video just fine. It houses an optical in-display fingerprint sensor as well, and if you compare it against the Galaxy A53, it's just way faster and more reliable. I also found the typing experience to be pretty decent on the iQOO 9 SE. However, its 300Hz touch sampling rate is nothing extraordinary, and personally I find Xiaomi and Realme's premium mid-range phones to have slightly better touch latency. But this is something that not everyone's going to notice. The only issue that we found with this display is that auto brightness does not work as it should. For instance, while I am in bed at night with the lights turned off, the phone's brightness level does not drop all the way to its lowest possible nits. And most of the time I had to manually toggle it to a more comfortable viewing level. Likewise, this screen refreshes at 120Hz, and we use the phone in the 120Hz mode all the times instead of the smart switch option that iQOO offers. That's because smart switch option is kind of hit or miss. For example, while browsing Chrome or scrolling through Messenger app, the refresh rate is restricted to just 60Hz. And because of this, we used it at 120Hz mode, which means that it did take a toll on the battery life, although you can turn on smart switch for slightly better endurance. But even so, the battery life here is not that great, as I was getting just around 5 to 6 hours of screen on time under moderate usage. Charging, on the other hand, is quite fast, as this phone can go from 0 to 100% in less than 40 minutes with the provided 67-watt power brick. Now, getting to the performance side of things, the iQOO 9 SE has one of the most powerful hardware packages for the price. It employs Snapdragon 888 with 8GB of RAM on the base model, which easily makes it the best performing smartphone per dollar. In our 3 weeks of use so far, we played a lot with this phone and we saw no stutter, no lags, no weird screen issues, and it never heated enough to trigger throttling. Multitasking is fluid and memory management here is excellent. As for gaming, Pubg Mobile runs smoothly at 60 FPS in its highest settings, which is HDR graphics and extreme frame rates. The phone does get warm pretty fast under this setting, so we needed to dial down the settings for better thermals. But overall, it looks like the vapor chamber cooling inside the IQOO 9 SE does a decent job of not throttling the performance that much, contrary to what we saw on last year's Snapdragon 888 powered phones. Still, IQOO needs to work on an update to improve the gaming performance in other games. Here, Call of Duty Mobile can only reach 30 FPS for some reason, and other 120 FPS ready games like Critical Ops and Injustice 2 don't reach their full FPS potential as well, even though the Snapdragon 888 is more than capable of handling it. Alright, let's talk about the cameras now. And this is an area where IQOO has got to improve many things, since I found its cameras to be not as reliable and definitely not that consistent. Although it's marginally better than, say, the OnePlus Nord 2 or the Vivo V23, but given its camera hardware and the image signal processor of the Snapdragon 888, it should be doing better. In comparison, Galaxy A53's cameras brings livelier photos most of the time, where the IQOO 9 SE's images feel unnaturally warm. And when it comes to human subjects, there's too much processing going on, which I definitely think could be improved with a software update. Plus, during nighttime, the normal photos take 1 or 2 seconds to process the shot, which means if you are taking a photo of your pet or your drunk friend, chances are the images will end up blurry. But if you could look past all of these issues, the IQOO 9 SE does take some good photos with excellent dynamic range and sharpness thanks to OIS. Selfies are also quite good with excellent HDR processing, good color presentation, and exposure levels. And if there's uniform lighting, the portraits come out decent as well with acceptable subject separation and bokeh. Moreover, for what it's worth, I think the 9 SE is a good camera phone for shooting videos too. It can record at 4K 60 FPS, although IQOO has disabled both EIS as well as OIS at this resolution. But other resolutions like 4K 30 and 1080p 60 FPS have good stabilization, where videos are fairly detailed and with accurate color processing. Still, it would have been great if the selfie and ultra-wide-angle lens could record beyond 1080p 30 FPS. Overall, the IQOO 9 SE is a great smartphone with a good design, excellent screen, a powerful Snapdragon 888 processor, and a good set of speakers. So despite its cameras not being as capable as the Galaxy A53, at 34,000 Indian rupees, the IQOO 9 SE is an unbeatable value and without a doubt my first choice in the sub 35,000 price segment right now. So guys, that was all for my full review of the IQOO 9 SE. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and while you're there, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Till then, I'm Pratima and I will see you in my next video.